They'll be calling you a radical. So the epic salmon collapse in Oregon, California, Monterey, stay tuned. The epic salmon collapse. Don't go breaking my heart. You couldn't if you fucking tried. The epic salmon collapse. Oh, it's on. It's beyond a catastrophe. Go Seahawks! Yay! Fucking from Jack Sigma, them Sonics, to sick Jackmas. It didn't take long. The Chief Joseph. So, this is a major fucking smoking gun of Fukushima. So, record returns. Don't let anybody ever tell you his fucking dams. What did the fishy say when he was swimming up the river? Damn! Jedi Smith has no dams. Down 98% on the salmon collapse this decade. Post Fukushima. Now, stay with me. We'll talk Stillhead. We'll talk Alaskan salmon. We'll talk Idaho Stillhead. We'll talk spring Chinook. So, sorry, Annika. Don't go breaking my heart. You couldn't if you tried. So, this is important. I'm going to hammer away at this. I don't care if it gets, they've got me so kettled in, filtered in. Just the most important subject in the world. The activist called me from New Mexico and he says, I don't believe it. Just the most important story in the fucking history of the world. You're on and nothing. Just try to record some history at this fucking point. So people can look back and say, what the fuck? Of course, this generation, they're not going to fucking do anything. They're still going to go fishing. Where's the Endangered Species Act? So, you can look it up. The Army Corps of Engineers is doing videos all over in 2015. Record returns. 1.4 million returning salmon, Chinook salmon, for the year on the Columbia. We have sonar across the Columbia, in front of the Columbia, before they hit the dam. ODFW, WFW, NOAA, they track the shit out of these salmon, on the Columbia. Now, we track them on the Rogue and the Willamette. Me and Tim's the one that got the Willamette closed on the Jedi Smith because these derelicts that work for these government, they don't do fucking shit. Like you call up Alaska, they're never there. They're in Mexico. They don't work. I mean, so you can look it up. The Columbia River, which the live cam's been out now for 7 years. I call them all the time, says, I'll send you a GoPro. They're the ones that alerted me. An insider in there says, here, look at these emails. Kevin Blanche, classified. We don't catch dead tide pools. Old Kevin Blanche does. Oh, that's just coincidence, bro. We don't catch dead humans in bone marrow transplant centers. Though Kevin Blanche does. Is almost one. Stay tuned. You know the Bumblebee CEO's in prison. You do know that? 2012 collusion. I thought it took more than one to tango. So, they all should be in prison. Stillhead started to collapse immediately. Record returns. So, we had returning spring Chinook salmon on the Columbia River. So this is peak week right now. In 2015, 680,000. On days like today, we'd get well over 20,000 a day. Easy over 20,000 a day, maybe up to 50,000 a day. It's prime week. They peak out on April 30th, and this is important because April 30th is a big day. So, Indian Point, New York City shuts down on April 30th. I protested there so many times. I protested at lots and lots of nuclear reactors and facilities, and nothing is more dangerous than any. Those fuckers will have guns on. They are Nazi motherfuckers there. Worse than Hanford. And so, they're done. Fuck you, the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate in New York. I hope you all get cancer and fucking die and shit to hell, every one of them, including Status King Cuomo and his fucking identical twin, fucking wannabe mobster Trump. Fucking nuclear fucking prostitutes. So, they think they're mobsters. Mother Nature's got a present for all you motherfuckers. So, the 30th, New Jersey, had a wife and kid in Ogden, Utah, Jack. I went out for a drive and I decided to go back. Don't let me down, Bruce. So you let us down, Bruce. So, Springsteen, fucking, in the shadow of the fucking nuclear refineries, they're going to bail them out. They'll announce whether they're going to or not. Multi-billion-dollar fucking nuclear energy death cult bailout. Bank bailout on chemo. Bank bailout on chemo. Status King Cuomo fucking moves to Jersey. Why wouldn't they? All the fucking mob fucking moved over there. The real mob in Italy kneecapped him. Yeah, the nuclear industry, look it up. So, record returns. Record returns. They're doing videos, everybody's laughing at Kevin Lynch. They're like, fuck, you're crazier than fuck. I'm like, no, wait a minute. All you fishermen. I remember being here in Utah at a coffee shop. These guys come in, fuck, it's Kevin Lynch, you fucking... They want to fight me. Full cancer. I says, well, if you want to fight, I'll go outside. I'll fight both of you motherfuckers. You know, what the fuck are you mad at me for? You should be mad at the nuclear industry. How are you going to fish when there's no fish? I didn't realize fishermen can't fish. I'm a fisherman. What's a boat? Skiers who don't ski, surfers who don't surf. It's a cliche. I'm in the Patagonian Club. Look at me, yay. Let's blow up a fucking dam. There's no dams on the J.L.I. Smith. They're down 98% post Fukushima. Even ODFW, WW, and no, but you're too lazy to even fucking call them and talk to them. Even they admit it. They're dying at sea. They weren't dying at sea before. So, the Columbia River goes from, there's 4,716 fish. Chinook salmon through the Columbia. And it's, what, today, the 27th? What? I think they had 500 fucking yesterday. They should be having 20,000 a day. And just a few years ago, that's in 5 years. From record returns to this. You're talking a 98% collapse. Now remember, this is important. Now stay with me. They stopped gill netting last year. No, 100% no gill netting. 0.0 gill netting. Hardly any fishing at all. So gill nets don't lie. You know, the quota on the gill netters, they're able to take out half the fish. So you have to double your projection. So if the gill netters in 2015 in front of the Columbia took over well out over 1 million Chinook. And they don't get counted on the sonar till past the gill nets. And they had 1.4 million returning. So if you take the gill net, they had close to 3 million in 20. Look it up. They're doing videos all over the Army Corps Engineers. Videos all over. So now this is important. This is historic. Somebody get this piece of this backed up. Now I'll go slow. ODFW, Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. DFW, yeah, they were having orgies in 2015. Look it up. Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. NOAA, you know who they are. So they set models. They have buoys all over in the ocean. They track the hatcheries. They track the little Chinook, the little fries. So Steelhead go to sea twice. They're called half pounders. Now, Tim Martin went up there and got video of them doing the test netting this year. That's so much work that he's done. No half pounders return on the Rogue. I mean, the Rogue's Catastrophe right now, you know, we're talking a couple hundred fish in the Rogue right now. Fuck, in the J.L.I. Smith, a couple hundred. I thought Bill Monroe told there was 300. Fucking Mitchell, come fishing, Chamber of Commerce, spend your money. Oh, it was great. Fuck, did you catch everything? No. Went to the tide pools at Point Loma. Oh, it was great. Did you see any starfish? No. Great. Fucking, oh my God. It's a Monterey Bay, it's a cliche. The Rogue's a cliche. Fucking the Copper River's a cliche. The fucking Chinook salmon are a cliche. They're a museum piece. Starfish. Oregon's a fucking theme park. Fuck, California's a cultural theme park. I mean, it's sick. Where have we gone? So stay with me. Now get this recorded, this piece back up. So they set their models, and they're good. Their models are dead on. Their models were so dead on in 2010, 2011. I mean, they were within a few thousand fish, every one of them. Perfect. You know, almost 1.4 million returning, right where they projected. All their models were the same. Their models are that good. They've had that long to work at them. They know how many fish get to the ocean. The sonar counts every one of them. The technology is that good. I'm like, well, your model hasn't plugged in Fukushima. Everybody's laughing at me. So in 2016, their models all showed 1.7 million returning Chinook salmon on the Columbia River for the year. They're about 800,000 springers. I set my projection at 680,000, Kevin Blanche. Because I've been screaming all over to everybody, wait till 2016. This will be the smoking gun of Fukushima. So they come in at 688,000. Oh, Kevin Blanche was just lucky. Just a lucky guess. Okay. Next year, they set their projections. All of them are right in line at 2.1 million. That was just an aberration. Okay. All right. We get that in science. Aberrations happen. I set mine at 480,000. They came in at 488,000. They're starting to freak out now. Once it's looked twice, they're like, whoa, wait a minute. Our models are off that far? From what? 2.1 million to 4? Whoa, this can't be right. Something's fucked up. Next year, which was 2018, I set my model at 333,000. Play back the tape, Your Honor. They set their models at 2.3 million. There was a variance between 2.1, 2.3, some as high as 2.7 million. I set mine at 333,000. Came in at 336. Whoa, they're starting to wake up. I'm talking to them on the phone. They're like, whoa, this fucking dude, he's so fucking crazy. Whoa, this dude, talk about crazy. Whoa, okay. So here comes 2019. 2019, I set my projection at 200, first at 320,000, then I lowered to 280,000. They started to come a little bit at it now, so they lowered projections back to 2.3, 2.1, all above a million, well over above a million. That's when they made the decision, WFW, no gill netting, partial through. So as soon as I heard they fucking pulled gill netting, I went to work on how much do they take out of the gill netting quota, off the models. And so I immediately readjusted for no gill netting and moved mine into right around 500,000. I doubled my projections, that's easy to do, that's that simple because they're not going to take them out. So I'm back just a hair over 500,000. They came in without gill netting, without fishing, they came in the 400s, which you got to take half that out. So I'm right on again. This is a catastrophe. Now remember, if you didn't have gill netting in 2016, you got 3 million. From 3 million, we're down to 400. So here comes 2020. Springers are a fucking disaster. Now, I really don't believe their sonar numbers on the fall numbers. I think they've fudged them, which we know because people sued in Alaska and they got caught and admitted in a court of law that the Army engineers were relying on return numbers to get quotas up for the fishing industry. It's a criminal industry. The whole fishing industry is beyond derelict criminals. So the corporatist Bumblebee has cannibalized the whole thing. He lives in Irvine. He's from Rome, by the way. He's bought up all the boats. Just cannibalized it. So 2020, I set my projections at 240,000. Then they come out and says absolutely no gilling, no fishing. So I move my projections to 480,000. They come in right at 520,000 with no gill netting, with no fishing. Now remember, 300 million. So this year, there's no gill netting, there's no fishing. I have my projections at 350,000. They have theirs they've come at it now. They've lowered theirs radically. They have theirs about 700,000. So the spring number right now today, and we're April 27th, 2021. This is prime week. This is when they fucking springs go crazy. 4,719 for you can look it up. They print them. The Oregon 7-day fish count. They're very good. And if they don't post them every day, I'm on the phone with them. They'll know me by fucking first name now because I call them so fucking much. And by the way, ODFW, who said we're not relying on our engineers to post numbers anymore because we don't trust them, whatever, we're putting our own up. That's because of Kevin Blanche. They all know me personally by now. I wonder why. So we'll go from 680,000 returning spring Chinook salmon in 2015. Remember, they go to sea on average of 5 years. The average Chinook salmon goes to sea they can go up to 8, 5. They're beasts. They are beasts. Big fish eat little fish. As I hypothesized, Fukushima is an energy. They're going to lie. It took me a year and a half to convince anybody this was one meltdown. They just lied. Just lied till the frogs were boiled nicely. They just fucking lied. These are full-blown out meltdowns. Never happened before. Didn't happen in Mayak. Didn't happen 3 Mile Island. Didn't happen in Chernobyl. These are full. This is new, which I named Fuktonium. It's going to push this energy to the Pacific Ocean, and it's going to break the chain. It's so fucking hot that they sent in multiple robots that can handle tens of thousands of degrees Fahrenheit. They melt. Leslie Stahl to Lake Barrett. Boy, did they stall. On 60 Minutes. It took 3,000 days, 60 minutes to tell you what Kevin Blanche told you in 1 hour. So Lake Barrett, who I know personally, who fucking admitted to Mark, his maintenance guy who I'm friends with, that he admitted to me on the phone that he lied on TV. You had to tell him something. Well, where is it? See those holes, the cores? Which I named Delmar Argentina syndrome. If you remember, which the collapse that happened on the Russian peninsula, which is very, right there close. It's called the Japanese Trench. Goes right there to the Russian peninsula from Japan. Remember when everything washed up fucking acutely, radically, everything fucking dead? And I told you, you'll never hear another word from Greenpeace is over there. We're getting to the bottom of this. We're going to the bottom. So the Minister of Information, Tas Pravad, the Minister of Environment in Russia started to cry. The first bootleg video you see they're speaking Russian, but you can understand his first words is Fukushima. I told you you'd never hear another fucking word because it's nuclear. They own the world. They own the media. They own you. They own your bone marrow. They own your children. They own their children's children. They own you. They're the untouchables, the greatest criminal cult in human history. Why you want to fucking fight with me and yell at me here in the fucking coffee shop? War Oregon fishing guides. Why are you mad at me? You should be fighting the nuclear energy crime syndicate. You should get on my fucking team. Fuck protect your industry. You stupid fuckers. How you going to fucking sell fishing guides when there's no fish? Fuck, they're wiping them out. This is killing them. Fukushima's the energy pushed in. This is a catastrophe. I mean, it's so fucking hot. And it's going to push in there. It's going to cause a heat bubble. The Great Salt Lake, I said, is going to dry. You're going to fucking see this. It's going to get into the trees. It's going to cause fire. It's going to cause a heat bubble of the Western United States. It's going to fucking cause the Great Pacific Genocide. Every bit of this hypothesized and told by Kevin Blanche, son of Cassandra. Every bit of it. It's not a hypothesis anymore. Not to mention all these credible fieldwork. Going to give you cancer. Oh, I got cancer. I went into the bone marrow transplant 11/11. Not to mention all my work on the USS Reagan. Make it so they sent them in and nuked them all to fucking death. So, it's just the facts now. It's just the facts. Some asshole come to me and he's got stupid with me on a comment today. This, that, the other thing about me, how, what. If you're so fucking bothered with me, then why the fuck are you watching? Because at this point, I really don't give a fuck. Play back the tape. My fucking rhetoric, my hypothesis, my fieldwork's already been fucking sucked up into people's brains. They don't know. They're just waiting to try to prove me wrong. They can't because I wasn't. Good hypothesis, good sign. Are not afraid to get it wrong. I wasn't afraid to get it wrong. I thought I was right. I wasn't positive, but I thought this is what's going to happen. It did. So I want to read this out of my book. I haven't fucking cracked this open in a long time. This is from Jackson Pollock. Kevin Blanche, the soup can flipper. Jackson Pollock from here in the West. New needs, new techniques. And the modern artists have found new ways and new means of making their statements. The modern painter cannot express this age, the airplane, the atom bomb, the radio, in the old forms of the Renaissance or in other past culture. Jackson Pollock, Kevin Blanche. I wrote this before. Either we pivot or it swallows us whole. The true work of art is born from the artist. Mysterious, enigmatic, and mystical creation. It detaches itself from him. It acquires an autonomous life, becomes a personality, an independent subject, animated with a spiritual breath, the living subject of a real existence of being. That's Kandinsky. Boy, so true. October, this is one of the particularly dangerous months to speculate in stocks. Other dangerous months are July, January, September, April, November, May, March, June, and December. August and February. Mark Twain, I love that quote. But I want to read this, if I can find where I wrote this. Huh. Oh yeah, here it is. Post-ignorance. I wrote this in 1010 before Fukushima happened. I see post-ignorance as a pure art movement in the concept of art itself, in the concept of art as culture, in the concept that people are culture, in the concept that inspiration influenced our great historical artists like Van Gogh on Malay, like Pollock's reference to Kandinsky, like Monet's to the sunlight, morning, dawn, winter, fall, summer, spring. It is influenced by the in vogueness of the time. Look at culture and art thereof today, economic theory, popular culture, art and more their lack of thereof art. The mind of seeing what others, for some uncognitive reason, do not see. Everyone saw life for millenniums. Everyone saw a simple line for millenniums. Everyone saw eclectic color for millenniums. It is more per se than the artist. Monet saw light. Malay saw the struggle. Van Gogh saw the line. Smithson saw the simplicity of the line and the shape against the landscape. Kandinsky saw the election of color and shape. Pollock saw the color of dynamics and motion. But more than that, they saw it decades ahead of the truth. Their minds saw fact and truth. Their minds were strong enough to act upon what they understood when others did not understand. Not yet. They had strong backs and knew how to work. They were the purification of ambition, intelligence, education, smoothed by work ethic. I put in probably 90 to 100 hours a week for 10 years. Full cancer. That's how many. I put in 12 hours a day, 7 days a week on this because I know it. I mean, I have a strong back. I have a really strong work ethic. Always have. I visualize and have for over 2 decades via my hawk and trowel, via my keyboard, via my paintbrush, via my cardboard 3-dar throwaway camera, via my flip video camera. I used to use a flip in the early days. Via my soapbox YouTube, via my websites is this: poetic injustice to the entire world, wars without provocation, pain without a crime, love without an artistic spirit, ignorance with a club, a big club. As a counter, what I've termed neo-ignorance is post-ignorance. I see post-ignorance like this: as a movement in pure intellectualism, in a broad intellectualism. Not I know art, history, not I know how to draw like a camera, not I know how to interpretate, not I know how to incorporate, but I know culture, I know environments in the more exposed manner. I know economics, I know geopolitics, I know metaphors good and bad. I know struggle and what it feels like to be stolen in wealth and mind, artistic and benevolent. I have painted in this movement in my mind for over 20 years. I have designed in this mindset for 20 years. I have used color in my mindset for over 45 years. I have written in this mindset for 20 years. I have plastered in this mindset for 34 years, 135 days. It is ground into my brain and into my hawk and trowel, my overused back, broken, twisted scar. It's impassioned by the 10,000 sculpture jobs I have done. It's fueled by the pain of watching my father, Digger, a pure genius of life, being loaded into the body bag as he died with the mind of Picasso or Dali or Malay. His mind, as he died, on fire with sharpness, a grass fire, killed by American ignorance, atomic veteran drafted to be its spy and aid, by competitive ugly people, by the scar of my severed tongue. A byproduct of a mystical idealism, the joy comes from the exploitation of a brown person, grounded by the crushed face and scar across my face, my deformed nose and missing upper jawbone and teeth, sponsored by Brian Knuckles and a Hail Mary sucker punch. He got out of prison. He did that to me. 15 years. Tried to kill me, almost died. At a rally. It was a sucker punch. I went and talked to him as soon as he got out of prison. I told him that I forgive him and hope that everything goes right, and told him I would do anything I could to help him. Influenced by Robert Smithson, who patted me on the head and winked at me in 1970s, my father, and he talked at the Spiral Jetty. Influenced by Mariner Eccles, put his genius-carrying soul to all humanity. Economic theory is the economic theory based as religion, as used as weapon. He is one of compassion on others as the past 30 years summits by greed and hate. He lived and worked right up the road from me, influenced by the architecture of Leslie Hodson. I restored his Masonic temple right before this. Art Deco giant, whose work I started at and live in and learned in and watched in, and my father-grandfather traded futures and cattle suits suitcases of cash, and around touching me visual, the taste influenced by the ignorance of popular opinion, tearing down John Affleck, waiting to tear down Ogden Heights, tearing down Ogden Canyon rock retaining walls and replacing with Jersey barricades. Even with my rock and plastering business, Blanche Plastering offered to restore it for free. Influence a mother who could draw like a camera. Influence watched my mate loaded into a body bag, that Ukrainian girl, that beautiful Ukrainian girl. The pole swinger, bruises on her legs. 38 years old. Genius, spoke 5 languages fluently. Born and raised in Kiev. Kevin. I have bruises on my legs. I met her in the Nevada test site. Megan Rice's mother protesting the nuclear bomb, protesting the nuclear energy, protesting Chernobyl, protesting the next nuclear accident. She died of leukemia the same day as my father. Different year, same killer. And living in the great cosmopolitan city was slowly passing away. Great teachers who loved art, who exposed me to the art influence by inherited wealth losers who had nothing to do but tried to be artists. English teachers at the high school level who kicked me out, then begged me to stuck in their own studios. I embrace knowledge from birth. I'm a visual believer. Learn through documentaries, learn through experience. See the landscape of culture and the landscape of the place you live in. A television and a computer screen and a walk along a local river and a hike atop Mount Ogden, through a picnic at the Spiral Jetty, through a drive over Monte Cristo, through the vase that sits on my mantel, made from wood roof in the dismantled 1904 Union Pacific Causeway. A heightened in my brain of the brain, not just from the front to the center, in the cause and the effect of the ignorance and the Freudian agenda masquerading as media. Ignored like the permanent murder of my beautiful father. My mother said he looked just like Elvis Presley with muscles. The brown pigment of his colored eyes burned to dull gray like the Great Salt Lake in early spring. I know ignorance. I've lived ignorance in this pain. The murder of my father, the murder of Annika, the killing of the lifelong passion, Blanche Plastering, fake rock, fake stucco, lick and stick, fake stone, the abuse of the supply chain economics, murder of hundreds of thousands of knowing who even murdered them, anything for drawing lines, calling them nationalists, the non-existence of any art movement, the destruction, thinking they're vogue and visual ideas. Folks, ignorance is an intelligent art with things that are people and places and experience, with a flip camera anyway around my neck, with going from poor to rich to poor to rich to poor, living a starving artist experience at 50 years old, watching my big magnificent environmental art home hammered down and stolen, destroyed. The true work of art is born from the artistic, mystic enigma and mystic creation. It detaches itself from him. It acquires an autonomous life, becomes a personality, an independent subject animated with spiritual life, the life of being of a real existence of being. Kandinsky. Hammered down like a static old nail in Haviland, turned into an Orwellian piece of shit popular opinion loves. The average suburbanite in the world cannot drink and drive, not because it is illegal and dangerous, because it cannot find their house. They pull into 800 house subdivision, look like fake rock, fake stucco. They fake is called Venetian plaster, paint over sheetrock. Their fake breasts, their downloaded blueprint, floor plan, the identical automobiles made by 100 manufacturers who use the same said blueprint. The walk to the wrong door, and before they get their gun out of their sock, the wrong house owner shoots him, then shoots his wife for sleeping with the boss at her impoverished hourly wage job that can barely pay the daycare. When their children becomes addicted to child drugs, it becomes ADD or whatever other lazy, non-inherited parent can create, not to mention the stress of poverty.